Hi there, folks. Welcome to the program. This, of course, is Stinchfield, the podcast. I want to do a little something different today. I want to talk about this body cam footage released by LAPD and some of the issues I have with it. I can't totally fault police for what they did. I do think they had a right to shoot and ultimately injure this woman. This is a story that we're going to talk about. There was a police chief in Los Angeles, a police chase in Los Angeles last month that goes into a neighborhood of LA, a nice neighborhood. 3 suspects get out, they're running through backyards. Police end up outside the backyard of the house of the bassist for the band Weezer. Now, if you heard Weezer songs, you know what it is, but it doesn't really even matter who he is, only to give you some context here. The wife of that bassist comes into her backyard with a handgun. And ultimately, police shoot her. How they didn't kill her, I have no idea. In fact, she's recovering from her injuries, but she's been charged with attempted murder. Police thought that she was going to shoot her. And I do think they believed she was going to shoot her. So I don't think police are at fault here, but I think there are some things that could have happened from both the police's perspective and the homeowner's perspective to have avoided this entire catastrophe. Okay. One is that the police were concealed behind a tall 5-foot backyard fence. I don't think this woman could see that they were police officers. And only twice did I hear in the 5 minutes or 4 minutes leading up to the police shooting, only twice did I hear them identify themselves as police. And when they do, it's kind of spoken over. So that's what we're going to talk about. Then we're going to get into Democrat ridiculous. I'll go back to politics here today and talk about this Cory Booker and Hakeem Jeffries on the steps of the Capitol, getting all kinds of media attention for, again, a sit-in, singing, no policies, no solutions, no acknowledgments, no admissions, just singing and sitting. But this is what the Democrats are about, basically sitting on their hands, watching their policies destroy America. And so we'll go through some of the Democrat ridiculousness from the weekend. And then President Trump said some interesting things on Ukraine. We'll talk about that a little bit today, too. But before we do, folks, look, I want to talk about Colonial Metals Group. Right now, we know there's a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the tariffs and what that is going to do for inflation. I think some things will go up, others won't. But either way, it's uncertain. Here's an interesting tidbit, though. President Trump exempted gold and silver from the tariffs. So now, again, just another great time to invest in gold and silver. My girlfriend the other day says, boy, but it's making all-time highs. I said, babe, gold has made all-time highs since its inception. Just it constantly goes up because of what gold is, a physical commodity in limited supply that you can hold and has value for so many things. This is why it makes such a great hedge against something like the U.S. dollar, which is only backed in trust. Again, protect your portfolio with a gold-based IRA or 401k. They can do this with no money out of pocket. Transform one of your IRAs or 401ks into a gold IRA, just a portion of it to protect your portfolio. That's what it's about. I trust Colonial Metals. So if you're thinking about doing this, go with the guys that I trust. freegoldguide.com/grant. freegoldguide.com/grant. I promise you they can help you out. All right, let's start off with some of the audio of what police were hearing as they went up to the house where this woman was before she came out with a firearm.
RTC to meet CHP, figure on the 134 East. CHP requests PD checks a year for suspects involved in a TC on the eastbound 134 freeway at Figueroa. Suspects are 3 male blacks. Number 1, no shirt. Number 2, no further carrying miscellaneous items. Number 3, covered in a yellow blanket.
One of the suspects had last been seen, and the officers followed to provide backup.
Can one of you back me for going to his house? Yeah.
So here, folks, is where they believe there are suspects from a police chase that have gone into this neighborhood and gone into the backyard. They believe there's somebody in this house, too, I believe, at one point. So they go to surround the house. You've got California Highway Patrol there. you've got LAPD there, okay? There's a homeowner that comes out of the house. That is the wife of the bassist. And she comes out of the house. Let me just play with you of what officers are now going to face as they come up to her backyard. That big giant fence right there will provide what I believe you could call
While
now.
in the rear yard of that residence, the officer saw a woman in an adjacent rear yard armed with a handgun.
So you see, she's got a gun there, and she's in the backyard. Police on the other side. She walks around. I don't think she came out to kill cops. I think she actually believes she hears the police commotion, and there's probably some kind of
the officers gave Shriner
an intruder. That she believes there's some kind of an intruder in the backyard. Now, she looks kind of out of it when she's walking around here, right? I mean, let me play this again. You can see here, she looks out of it. Like something's wrong. I would like to see the toxicology test come back and see whether or not this woman that you see on your screen here.
Woman was later identified as Jillian Shriner.
Hold on.
The officers gave Shriner.
Hold on. I would like to see whether a toxicology report comes back and whether she was on something. Okay? So now you have a woman in her backyard. She's concerned about something. Does she know they're police officers? I'm going to play some of this and let you listen to it.
Hey, hold it for me. We got
I have an armed residence with the
Hey, put the gun down!
Put it down on the ground! Put it down on the
X38,
ground!
can I help call for a 450 female with a gun? We'll be behind the residence.
All right. Now, mind you, folks, this is behind a fence. Okay? A fence where you can't see that these are police officers. That's an issue. You heard the officers yell, put the gun down, put the gun down. Very important. What they don't yell is, we're police. Ma'am, we're here to help you. We can show you our badge. Trust us. It's police. It's police. It's police. Only twice did I hear them mention police, and it was almost the audio was trampled over other officers yelling.
Gun down!
We got one that goes pointing down an armed suspect. Shoot up! Ma'am, put the gun down!
Put the gun down!
Put the gun down!
She's walking away.
All right, so again, you hear them yelling, put the gun down, put the gun down. She's walking away. She does not put the gun down.
Party's walking up.
Yeah.
She's armed.
long gray shirt, black hair, black hat. Get the gun in their hand.
Now, something else very important for police officers. There's a difference between cover and concealment. What the police have here is concealment, meaning she can't see them. That's also a problem because I don't think she knows that they're police. Okay? As far as cover goes for the police officer's own safety, I don't believe this old fence would provide adequate cover, meaning if she fires at the fence, I believe a 9mm could most likely penetrate that fence, and you can see the slits in between the fence. It's a real issue there. Is it better than nothing? Absolutely, but I don't think it's providing great cover for police officers.
Put the gun down!
I got eyes on her unit.
Hey, she lifts that gun. Ma'am, put the gun down, okay?
So, notice, folks, they've yelled, put the gun down. Have you heard them yell police yet? No.
Hey, you have cover?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see her right now. The gun's not up.
All right, so again, the gun is not up. They can't see her. Now, here's a situation where I think you've got a bunch of officers there. Do you not send one officer back to the patrol vehicle to get your less than lethal weaponry? Less than lethal being beanbags, which I'm sure LAPD carries. There are what you call wood sticks, that are propelled out of a launcher, and the sticks will bounce off the ground into shins, basically debilitating whoever is there. These are less than lethal options because you've got a woman right now who, I know the police here have to believe that something's up with this woman, that she's not I don't want to say she's not a deranged lunatic because she's in the backyard. And I'm going to talk about how she could have protected her own life as well and what she should have done. But let's let this play out. And again, I've not heard them identify as police yet.
Now, we're trying to help you.
Matt, put the gun down!
Come on with your hands up.
Drop the gun!
Again, ma'am, we're trying to help you. Come out with your hands up, but not one saying police. They should have over and over and over again being saying, we are police.
Getting shot. It's the police. Drop the gun. Drop.
Those are the 2 times I heard police. And if you noticed, it was almost trampled over other people yelling. California Highway Patrol, it's police, drop the gun, and it goes down here from now.
The gun. We have one at gunpoint. They are armed with the gun.
So it's coming up to the moment where they're going to shoot her because she racks the gun. Okay? And that's when, if I'm a police officer.
Hey, what is she? I can't see from. What is she doing right now?
Pointed it. Not else, but she just lifted it up.
She must.
Get down. Get down.
Shut.
Okay, so at that moment, they fire upon her. Now, remember we had the surveillance video of her in the backyard. What LAPD doesn't reveal is the rest of the surveillance video from the backyard that would show us from her perspective what she did. Now, if she racked the gun, which, here's some mistakes. If you're a homeowner and you have a defensive pistol in your house, it needs to be loaded and ready to go. You don't want to have to rack it because for 2 reasons. 1, you need that gun ready to go. 2, you don't want to forget to rack it, okay? You have an intruder in your home, you pull the gun, you go to shoot, and it's nothing there because you didn't load the chamber. So if you have a gun at home, it needs to be in a place that is safe from unauthorized users. That doesn't mean locked up. It just means an unauthorized user can't get their hands on it. But it needs to be loaded and ready to go. Now, the other side to this is when you are a homeowner, and let me go back to her in the backyard here, okay? If you're a homeowner in the backyard, let me do this.
In the rear yard of that residence, the officer saw a woman in an adjacent rear yard armed with.
All right, if you're this woman in the backyard, the last thing you want to do, if you think there are potential intruders, if you think there are bad guys, the last thing you want to do is come out of your house. Usually this is reserved for the man of the house who thinks, I'm going to go out there and see what's wrong. Honey, stay here. I'm going to go check on things. It's the worst thing you can do. I don't care whether it's day or night, especially at night, but I don't care either one. If you think there's an intruder, your job is not to go out there and shoot the intruder. Your job is to keep your family safe. The best way you keep your family safe is you make sure your back door is locked. You make sure your wife and kids is in a safe spot in the house, barricaded in someplace. You take up a defensive position with cover towards the door where you think the intruder is going to come in. The moment that intruder comes in, you blast. But the last thing you do is go outside to an unknown threat, an unknown amount of perpetrators. You could be wildly outnumbered and you're 1 against 10. The worst thing you can do. This is if you remember when Joe Biden recommended to his wife that she get a shotgun, walk out on the porch and rack it, and rack the shotgun. Yeah, you'll chase him away. Worst possible thing you can do. If you think there's an intruder, call 911, take a defensive position, Tell the operator 911 you are armed and you are going to shoot whoever comes through the door. Stay on the phone with that operator and you wait there. You do not go to the backyard. If she would have done that, she would be alive today. I believe if the police officers would have identified themselves in a more efficient fashion, could they have used less than lethal? I don't know about that. Maybe worth a shot if you have an ability to do so, but I don't know for sure if they could have done that. I would have loved for them to have tried. Because again, when you look at this woman, you have to say, okay, is this woman out here, is she an evil criminal? Is she the one from the car chase, barefoot, which you've got to believe that's the homeowner, right? Walking around her backyard. She is a threat because she has a firearm. And when she points it at police, which is what they say, they fire after she racks the gun. I do not blame them for that. They felt like their lives are in danger. I've got to support them on that prospect, but I think there are things that could have been done before we got to this point. Now, she's also barefoot. That's going to tell you she's probably not the suspect from the police chase. But a wild scenario all the way around. This was more body cam footage from a different officer's view. And this is where they could have dispatched one of these officers to go get the less than lethal. I would have liked to have seen less than lethal used, if at all possible.
Hey, it's a female Hispanic, long gray shirt, black hair, black pants. She has a gun in her hand.
Put the gun down!
All right, so when you look at what's happening here, sad story. Thank God she's alive. You know, the other question to this is, how in the world did these officers not kill her? They shot her who knows how many times. You heard the guns going off, rapid fire succession. Let's see if I can play it one more time for you. And here we go. Here we go. This is it.
She first pointed it. Not else, but she just lifted it up. She
Get down! Shut!
All right, so how many times do you hear? At least probably a dozen shots. It's quick, but there's probably a dozen shots fired. She lived to tell the story. I'm going to tell you, I would like to think, I don't mean this any other way than to say that I'm a pretty good shot. In this situation, that woman would be dead if it was me firing at her. How they missed her center mass, which is what you're shooting at, I have no idea. But anyway, let's thank God that they didn't kill her. She's charged with attempted murder. I think it's going to come out that she was on drugs. I don't think she meant to kill anybody. In my humble opinion, there's got to be some leniency in all of this. She may even should get off for it. I don't know. But I do support the cops in their firing here because I do think they felt their lives were threatened. They did identify themselves, just not in the manner that I wish they would have. So sad all the way around. You know what happens with tragedies is it's never one thing that leads to the tragedy like this. Think about it. You've got a police chase with 3 people. The suspects escape. Now the cops are on edge that you got suspects in the neighborhood. Then you've got a woman who appears out of it. I don't know whether she was high on something or not, but if that was the case, now you've got a quote suspect that is not fully with it. You've got police that are at no fault of their own, blocked by a fence that's 5 feet high, so all you're seeing are the heads coming up. And I almost wish she was surrounded by cops in uniforms because I don't think this would have happened. All of these things lead to a monster tragedy. All right. Folks, let me tell you, and then we're going to talk about Democrat ridiculousness here in just a moment. Let me tell you about my friends over at Energized Health. I'm 56 years old. I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. I've tightened my entire body up. I've gained muscle mass. And that's not necessarily the absolute goal of Energized Health. They've helped people going on into their 80s and even 90s with this system. It's not overly hard. I mean it. And I don't like to say anything's easy, but this is about as easy as it gets when it comes to losing fat. I lost 15 pounds of fat in 2 weeks. Okay? That's a lot. And it was getting hydrated at a cellular level. There's science behind how you do this. This is not a supplement program. It's not shots or medication program. This is a mind, body, soul, patent pending, totally scientific way to lose body fat quickly. And in the end, your mind gets sharper. Your joints start to ache less. It gets lubricated in those joints. You deal with joint pain. Energized Health can help you. EnergizedHealth.com. You tell them Grant Stinchfield sent you. Take the master class there. There's weekly Zoom calls. There's daily videos you'll get. There's individual coaching. There's recipes. The whole program is right there for you to succeed. And in fact, they've got a 99% success rate with a 100% money-back guarantee, so you can't lose by going with Energized Health. Give them a try. EnergizedHealth.com. Take your life back like I did. Change your life like I did. And it'll all happen very quickly and in a manner that you'll say, wow, that was easy. EnergizedHealth.com. All right. So over the weekend, if you can believe it, Cory Booker was back at it.
First of all, my favorite Muslim poet was a man named Muhammad Ali.
Oh,
and that great poem, 2 words, me, we.
Woo!
But it actually reflects an ideal within Islam of the oneness of humanity.
Absolutely.
That there may be different faiths.
Sure.
But there's a oneness in humanity.
Yeah.
What you do to another, you do to me.
That's right.
That's a very big part of the faith, yes?
It is. Even in Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him's last farewell address, he mentioned that.
So that is Cory Booker on the right.
First of all, my
favorite. Cory Booker on the right. Hakeem Jeffries in the middle, and I don't know who the guy is on the left. Why Hakeem Jeffries looks like he's dressed like a rap star, I have no idea either, but this is them at the beginning of getting a group on the Capitol steps to raise attention to the ills of Donald Trump, who, by the way, 100 days in office now has the most secure border in American history, that now has our enemies on the run and worried about America. We are now on a path to peace in the Middle East and an agreement with Gaza and Israel. We are still talking about Ukraine and Russia, not going as well as I would like, but certainly going better than it was under Joe Biden. We'll hear from President Trump on that in a minute. We're now on the verge of passing a no tax on tips bill, lowering taxes for everyday Americans. We're not going to be raising taxes on the rich. I promise you that's not going to go through. That would be the worst thing that could ever happen. These are all successes that President Trump has. So they're there to raise awareness to President Trump sending illegal alien gang members back to their home country and putting them in prisons there. And they think they're raising awareness. They think they're on the side of the American people. What the American people were desperate for are solutions and ideas. And, of course, action to put the solutions and ideas in play. Democrats offer up no solutions or ideas.
At the 6 o'clock hour, we're officially at the 12 hours that we've been at this. We started walking in your office, got down here a few minutes after 6 o'clock a.m. It's now 6 o'clock p.m.
All right, so now there are 12 hours on the Capitol steps. The crowd has grown a little bit, but I don't know what it is about Cory Booker that he loves the idea of wearing adult diapers. You know, he did that stunt on the floor of the United States Senate where he talked for 24 plus hours. Now he's on the Capitol for steps for 12 plus hours, doing nothing but rambling about nothing and, of course, singing.
You know this song from the beginning. I will build this world from love. Yada da 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 yada da da. And you must build this world from love. Yada la 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 yada la la. And if we build this world from love, yada-die-die-die, yada-die-die.
What is it with them and the songs? Every time they go to a rally, what they call a rally, what I call a riot, what they call a protest, what I call lunacy, every time they go, they're singing songs. And stupid songs at that. Dopey songs. And most of them can't even sing, including this rabbi, not to besmirch the good name of a man of the cloth, but look, they've got a rabbi there surrounded by Democrats. The Democrats hate the Jews. What are you doing there, rabbi? Okay? And what he's doing there is not singing very well.
God will build this world from love. Yada-lie, yada-lie. Let's build the country we deserve now.
If you wanted to build a country you deserved, why did Joe Biden, Hakeem Jeffries, Cory Booker, Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton, I can go through the whole names of why do they do everything they can to tear this country down, to break it apart, to open our borders, to unleash an invasion of criminality into this country? Why did they do those things if they want to build the country that they love? Right now, President Trump is rebuilding the country, rebuilding back a country that he loves. But that's what we get from Democrats. Look, at least we had here, this, I believe, is an admission on MSNBC to Stephanie Rule that the Democrats are idealists.
One of the reasons Donald Trump's base gives him space is because they, like a lot of people, say the country's not working for me. Right. And they're giving him time because they're saying his plan might not work, but at least there's a plan. And Cory Booker did stand up, but they've yet to say, well, here's what we're going to offer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the only thing, because it was at least understandable. I don't care who you are. Most people would understand. I wouldn't stand in the line for 25 hours to get a Star Wars movie, right? Like, people understood. It was like, okay, this is.
I definitely wouldn't do that.
Even I wouldn't, right? And I'm into that stuff. But the Democrats as a whole, they don't have a message. Hakeem Jeffries doesn't have a message. Chuck Schumer doesn't have a message. I expected this from the Republican Party. I knew this is the kind of stuff they were going to do. What I'm shocked by is that the only people who seem to be talking are Bernie and AOC running around the country. And trust me, I went to their rally in Los Angeles. They're still making the same mistakes they always did, which is a crowd in downtown Los Angeles that still doesn't look any more diverse than downtown Wisconsin. That's the issue. So the first 100 days, Democrats still failing, Republicans doing what I expect.
Oh, boy, oh, boy. So in some respects, I think they're waking up. I heard Adam Schiff, Schiff Bag, the senator from California. I hate saying he's a senator. Talk about that he got his luggage stolen in San Francisco. He's flying into San Francisco. Gets his luggage stolen. So he goes into Target to buy some stuff. 10 o'clock at night, downtown San Francisco, the Target he goes into, the clerk tells Adam Schiff that the crime is so out of control, that the state is in such bad shape, California, that Democrats are full of shit. That's what the clerk told Adam Schiff. And Adam Schiff admitted, if a clerk in downtown San Francisco at a Target at 10 o'clock at night is saying the Democrats are full of shit, they got a real problem here. You got a Democrat strategist on with MSNBC saying that the Democrats are running around with the same stupid AOC message, that there's a real problem there. And again, AOC and Bernie, I guess they have presidential aspirations. You might see AOC as the lead on the ticket and Bernie as the vice president this time around. Now, I would love to run against that because they are idealists except for the idea of socialism and communism, which America have already pushed back on. That tired old messaging, white people are bad, rich people are bad, America is bad, is not going to work anymore. This is AOC on with Anderson Cooper this weekend. And again, tired old messaging.
When you've heard the news this afternoon, a couple hours ago, what did you think?
Well, I think rulings like this, and I think we've seen from the FDA and also from activity in Congress, that some of these rulings, I think we've been preparing and anticipating for there being these egregious overreaches by members of the judiciary appointed by a right-wing Republican Party whose goal for a very long time was to just pack these courts with partisan judges, often underqualified or completely unqualified for.
You see how hypocritical this is? She says Republicans want to pack the court with hypocritical judges and unqualified. No. The difference between Republicans and Democrats when it comes to a judge is we just want judges to rule on the law as it was written. Now, you want the Supreme Court to rule on the Constitution as it was written. So if some state house someplace writes an unconstitutional law, the Supreme Court then can pass judge on it. But in the virtual states where laws are passed, I just want the judges to abide by the laws on the books. What's happened now are Democrats want to install activist judges who don't want to abide by any of the laws on the books and want to legislate from the bench their own laws. And then hijack the judiciary from a federal level, hijack the legislative process by somehow putting the kibosh on anything President Trump or Republicans try to do at a federal level from an activist judge. That's not right. Now, Republicans want Republicans on the bench. Democrats want Democrats on the bench. I get it, which is why elections has consequences. If Democrats want to ruin the country, okay, I'll call them out on it. But I'm not going to be surprised when they put judges in who also want to ruin the country. This is why elections matter. It's why we got to win elections. Let's keep more.
For their role. And so there has been thought, I believe, given to this. Senator Ron Wyden has already issued statements, for example, advising what we should do in a situation like this, which I concur, which is that I believe that the Biden administration should ignore this ruling. I think that the courts have the legitimacy and they rely on the legitimacy of their rulings. And what they are currently doing is engaged in an unprecedented and dramatic erosion of the legitimacy of the courts.
Think about what the Democrats have done to President Trump and every one of his orders that is completely 100 within the bounds of the Constitution of the United States. They've stopped President Trump at a district court level. One activist judge affects the entire country. That's wrong. Now, she wants the quote, Biden administration to ignore certain rules, right? But she wants the Trump administration to abide by the judge's rules. So this is why I play this clip. Because when you have AOC saying that a Biden administration should ignore the rules, but a Trump administration should obey them, it doesn't work for me. That is the height, folks, of hypocrisy. You want to hear more Democrat lunacy? Joy Reid, remember, she got fired from MSNBC. Why? Because her ratings were horrible. Here she is saying more horrible things.
Each community on earth. If you take that away and try to distill us just down to white folks, we'll be like Europe, an aging, slowly dying former empire. The Roman Empire didn't survive because it didn't have enough strength in its diversity. It suppressed its diversity and it died. If the U.S. wants to be the Roman Empire, keep voting the way you're voting, y'all.
Do you know why I believe the Roman Empire died? I believe the Roman Empire died because it basically waged war on men. You had Roman masculinity that was degraded along the way. And all you have to do is look at the artwork in Rome as the Roman Empire started to disintegrate. The artwork went from these big, strong Roman gods to these little whimsical creatures as they eroded away masculinity until society collapsed. Why do you think society is on the verge of collapsing today? Because the war on men is very real. They're eroding masculinity, this push for transgender mania, the blur the lines between who's a man and who's a woman. Ultimately, society will collapse. You take real men out of society, the society falters and ends up crumbling. Why? Because men hold society up on their shoulders. Do we need good women to help the men do that? Absolutely. Are there some women that actually step up and put that society on their shoulders too? Yes. But they're not going to be able to do it without good, strong men, masculine men. You want to know why the Roman Empire collapsed? That's it. They went totally feminine. And when you go feminine, you start losing brutal, violent wars. So Joy Reid is wrong on all of that. Now, today, marking 100 days in office, I guess, really happy to see President Trump and his team put up 100 signs of illegal aliens who were captured by President Trump's team that were convicted and accused of all kinds of heinous, horrible things that have now been deported. They put these basically campaign signs for each individual illegal goon on the front lawn of the White House. Watch this.
Good morning from the White House. We've got a whole line of signs of everybody who has been apprehended so far. All of the...
You just read some of these. Sodomy of a child, coercing a minor to engage in sexual activity, rape of a child, rape, sexual offense against a child.
Illegals captured for violent crimes.
Lewd acts against a child, rape, murder.
All let in under Joe Biden's watch. I mean, it goes on. This is huge. All the way. It keeps going. I mean, over here, it's everywhere. They are not joking around this morning. They are sending a signal right here to let America know they are cleaning out here even more. It keeps going. The press is getting ready for their morning hits, and so am I.
All right, that's the gentleman from Next News Network, and I appreciate them filing that so we could use it to show you all of these pictures up there. Now, there's a reason there are pictures up there, because these are bad people. We don't want them in America. This is the number one issue that President Trump has the majority of American people on. They're saying, get the bad ones out, the MS-13s, the Tren de Aragua gang members. And they were doing just that. There was a raid in Colorado Springs. Remember, Colorado Springs, this town just outside of Colorado Springs, was taken over, this apartment complex taken over by Tren de Aragua gang members. Well, they are cracking down there. The feds have gone in. They found an illegal nightclub. They made over 100 arrests over the weekend, drugs. But I think the lead story that the mainstream media missed was acting as security, was active duty members of the United States military were acting as security for this drug den, prostitution house where cartel members were even hanging out and partying in, and we had active duty members of our military providing security for them. That needs to be flushed out. But this is the DEA agent in charge. Take a listen.
So good morning. John Pullen with DEA and the Rocky Mountain Division. We're here on the scene of an underground nightclub where over 300 federal law enforcement, along with our local partners from El Paso County and Colorado Springs PD, executed an enforcement operation this morning. It's a drug investigation. We seized quite a number of guns and took a number of people into custody. I think what I'd like for people to know as a result of this operation is that Colorado Springs is waking up to a safer community today.
Jonathan, give us some perspective here. 300 law enforcement officers. What brought about this kind of requirement, this kind of need to be here with that show of force?
So this is an underground illegal nightclub, okay? And what was happening inside was significant drug trafficking, prostitution, crimes of violence. We seized a number of guns in there. We had active duty service members who were running security at the club and involved in some of these crimes. And in fact, we had over 100 illegal aliens inside as well. And those over 100 illegal aliens were taken into custody by ICE.
You see, they had FBI there, DEA there, ICE agents there. I saw even the postal inspectors were there as well on the back. ERO, those are the ICE removal agents. And again, in this news conference, the DEA agent buries the lead. Active duty members of the military providing security They need to be court-martialed instantly. The United States military has to figure out how this would happen. You know, I think you've got a couple bases up there. Fort Collins is near here, and there's a couple bases up there in that area of Colorado where they probably were coming from, but not a good scene, to say the least.
Active duty service members helping as security.
Here, she's asking about active duty.
So it's an ongoing investigation, but we had over a dozen active duty service members in the club tonight, either as patrons or working as armed security.
How many of those were detained, and what are they facing right now?
So Army CID was one of our partners out here, and they're going to work with us on what the next steps for those active duty service members looks like.
You mentioned that this is a drug trafficking operation. Can you elaborate on any drugs you found, the amount, any charges you anticipate that could come out of tonight?
So as you may suspect, when the cops showed up at the door, most of the drugs hit the floor. And we did find cocaine. It looks like some pink cocaine or the Tusi. And there was a little bit of other drugs, but we haven't had time to test everything. But there were dozens of small packages of drugs that they've recovered so far that I have personally seen.
How we got to this location?
This has been a long-term investigation by DEA and a number of our federal partners. And so we've been working on this underground nightclub for a number of months, doing undercover, surveillance, a lot of other work to identify what's going on here. And again, you know, months-long information about drug trafficking and prostitution happening inside.
All right, so this will be interesting. As he mentioned, undercover operations. My assumption is they'll have undercover body cam video from inside the club. They've probably sent agents in there to buy drugs, engage or at least solicit prostitution, see if they're solicited prostitution, all of this kind of thing. You can't have illegal clubs going on, much less run by cartel members. They found an active member of the Sinaloa cartel in this club in Colorado. Colorado's not a border state. But again, every town is a border town now, thanks to Joe Biden. That's the reality of things, and it's sad that we have most certainly gotten to that point. All right, I want to tell you, folks, about the wellness company. They've got a new product. I'm going to read you this script from them that they sent me. I call it a script, but really it's about parasites. So if you have health issues right now, you got to ask yourself, could this be caused by some invisible enemy? Could it be fatigue, brain fog? What if parasites were the culprit in all of this? Well, the wellness company sent me this parasite cleanse, okay, from one of their doctors. And it's interesting. Parasites are everywhere. It is scary. They're in our food. They're in our water. They're on our pets. And they secretly invade your body, wreaking havoc on your gut, energy levels, even your brain. And the mainstream medical system doesn't want you to think about this, because one of the great cleanses can change your life. They don't want that. They want you sick in the doctor's office. This cleanse from the wellness company is a fabulous solution. Ivermectin, mebendazole, and FDA-approved parasite solutions now combined in one cleanse combo. All you got to do is fill out a brief intake, okay, and they will get this to you. This is about a parasite cleanse of your body. Nothing could be more important, all right? Maha is officially here. The wellness company is making these hard-to-get medications digitally accessible so you can live your best life. Go to twc.health/grant. That's twc.health/grant. Use the promo code GRANT for 10% off. And when it comes to these parasites, get rid of them, baby. Get rid of them, and the wellness company can help you do just that. All right. President Trump on Ukraine, Russia.
A lot of people. We have 3,000-4,000 people dying every single week. That's a lot of people to lose. You can imagine parents waving from Ukraine and from Russia, waving to their son as he leaves. And, you know, a week later he's dead on a battlefield, all carved up, chopped up. I see that. I see the satellite pictures. They're horrible. They're horrible. I would say it can't get any worse. Body parts laying all over. I don't even like looking at them. Body parts laying all over the field. What are they doing? It would have never started if I were president.
So I believe that President Trump is correct on that. A lot of things would have never happened if he was president. So what do we do to get this war over with Ukraine? Russia wants Crimea. It has Crimea in its control since 13, 14. So Ukraine's not going to be able to keep that. There's some indications now that maybe Zelensky will be willing to give up Crimea, but he's going to have to give up some land. I think that Vladimir Putin could take it either way, peace or no peace. Zelensky doesn't want peace because his term as president ends with peace. The people are fed up with him. Right now, he's basically holding on to power because he said we can't run elections in a country that is war-torn and occupied, which I understand. It's to be hard to run an election that way. But the moment you run elections, Zelensky's out, man.
Well, I want him to stop shooting, sit down, and sign a deal. We have the confines of a deal, I believe, and I want him to sign it and be done with it and just go back to life.
So we're still waiting to see if we can get this minerals deal done. Now, the minerals deal gives us some autonomy from China. We go in and take some of these rare earth minerals that Ukraine is very rich in. But it also provides Ukraine some safety and stability. Vladimir Putin's not going to go in or bomb any place or try to take over any place where there's members of the United States military or big American companies, mining companies, executives. They're not going to risk that with America right there in the middle of Ukraine. That is the protection the minerals deal provides Ukraine.
Oh, I think so, yeah. Look, Crimea was 12 years ago. That was President Obama that gave it up without a shot being fired. So don't talk to me about Crimea. Talk to Obama and Biden about it.
Yeah, and it is true. And most of the people in Crimea, look, there's a vodka that I drink. I usually drink Tito's, as you know. I'm trying to remember what the name of the vodka is. Crudo. That's it. Kruto. And it's good vodka. It's cheap, too. It comes from Ukraine, the area of Crimea. The owners of that company are here in Dallas. And when they were invading Ukraine, I was talking to them on the radio almost daily, getting updates from what their plant was. Putin went in and took over. No disruptions of the plant. They're still sending vodka back to the United States. Everything's working fine with Russia in control of Crimea. So, we'll see how this all plays out. Couple comments from the Sunday morning talk shows. Our Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, was on talking about the first 100 days and the amazing wins that we have had.
You're not going to tell the person on the other side of the negotiation where you're going to end up. And nobody's better at creating this leverage than President Trump. He's shown the high tariffs, and here's the stick. This is where the tariffs can go, and the carrot is come to us, take off your tariffs, take off your non-tariff trade barriers, stop manipulating your currency, stop subsidizing labor and capital, and then we can talk. But I tell you, Martha, that we've had several of these Asian countries that come in and said, oh, well, we'll stop doing this, this, and this. And I look at these lists, and I think, how did we get here? How did we get here? Because this trading system has been so unfair. And as President Trump says, I don't blame the countries. I blame the previous administrations that let them get away with it.
Yeah, if you're the countries, President Trump's right on it. You're going to take the best deal you possibly can. You can't blame them for that. The previous administrations, you can. President Trump's getting it under control. And he even said a deal with China is on the horizon. He thinks it's going to be way less than that 145% tariff that it is right now. And remember, folks, it's a tariff on the wholesale price. So if Nike takes in a $100 pair of sneakers for $10 and the tariff is 145%, it's $20 on the price of the sneaker, or $20.45, whatever it is, the numbers. It's not $245, okay? It's an extra $20 because it's the wholesale price. A lot of people don't talk about that. It's an important distinction to remember. White House Correspondents' Dinner. I'm not going to play a lot of it because it's basically, there's nothing fun about it, except when a site like Axios, and this is one of the workers at Axios, calls out the mainstream media. And Axios is a leftist organization, and he calls out the mainstream media.
This area as ever. President Biden's decline and its cover-up by the people around him is a reminder that every White House, regardless of party, is capable of deception.
Yes, every White House is capable of deception. I'm the first to believe that. Now, I don't think President Trump wants to deceive anybody. I think it's the most transparent White House in the world. But I always go into everything with my eyes open. And President Trump can't control everyone around him. So I feel like, for me, I'm a check and balance for President Trump. I'm another set of eyes and ears to make sure we keep on people and know people. Like the podcast yesterday. If you didn't watch the podcast yesterday, you need to. The Department of Justice continuing to wage war in court against a gentleman who filed a Freedom of Information request for Hunter Biden documents that they're still fighting in court not to turn over. I don't think President Trump knows about that. These are the kinds of things that I will help be eyes and ears for President Trump and the administration, and you should too. You see anything, you let me know, okay? You let me know about it, and we'll expose it. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. Stinchfield's Army rolls. Thanks to all of you. We'll see you on the Real America's Voice show tonight. I should highlight the first 100 days on the Real America's Voice show, shouldn't I? I think that would be a good to go through some of the achievements of the first 100 days. We'll do that tonight on RAV, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Be there or be square, and we'll talk about that. God bless all of you. Again, Stinchfield's Army rolls thanks to you. Don't forget to sign up for the email list, grantstinchfield.com, grantstinchfield.com. You get all the podcasts there. And please subscribe, like, follow the podcast, share it on social media. Let's spread this word so we get this out far and wide. All right, folks, thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow morning. See you soon.